system in place to keep us in chains. By show of hands, who else is sick and tired of the same 1%? Trying to keep us small, trying to keep us from getting out. Minimizing the struggles they've caused, saying we're not working hard enough.
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise, we'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
And welcome everybody to Suck It. I am the great and powerful King of Kings, Prince of all that is awesome. Derek, how the fuck are you tonight on this Friday, March 5th of the year that has been 2021? Ooh, thank God it's Friday. That's all I gotta say. But thank you so much for being here on another Friday edition of Suck It Podcast. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. And as always, hit that smash that fucking like button. But thank you so much again for being here. You know, last night we got back to music, and tonight is no different. Because tonight I have a band out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, by the name of Dead Friends. Getting ready to release a whole bunch of good shit, and they're just amazing, amazing good indie band that, again, just really love to profile and love to talk to. And you know, this conversation is no different. We touched on all topics, and we hit a lot of really interesting stuff. And so it's another great, you know, conversation that is not to be missed. So please take a listen. And you know, let me know how you think. Let me know what you think. Always feel free to comment and everything else in between, unless you're a flat earther. Actually, no, I love the flat earth comments. Bring them on. But anyway, so let's just get right into it. Happy Friday. We'll see you guys next week. But until then, let's have our conversation with Dead Friends. And welcome to the show, Dan and Austin from the band Dead Friends. How's it going, guys?
Going as well as it could, you know? I mean, all things considered.
All things considering, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong on that front. I mean, especially in the entertainment world, it's been shit this year. I mean, there's no two ways around it. I mean, the last year has been absolute shit. You know, whether you're a movie fan, a music fan, a comedy fan, a opera fan, it doesn't really fucking matter. We're stuck at home watching virtual events or nothing at all. And
I didn't even think about the opera community. That's how self-centered of us to focus so much on music when they can't do anything. There's no live Zoom.
You can't do opera with a face mask on.
Yeah, no face mask.
No, or Broadway too.
Yeah.
But
opera specifically, I need to reach out to my opera friends because I've been neglecting them. That's you know how bad that would sound on a live stream.
Oh my God.
That's not, yeah.
I mean, unless you got like professional production value, that's not gonna go very well at all.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing, because it's been terrible, especially for bands like at our level, to try to navigate like pod shows and stuff like that, when bigger bands can do full production live streams and like with a director and a crew, and yeah, it's a weird thing to navigate for sure.
But at the same time, you know, we're going to go into this, but so I'm glad you brought it up now. What you just mentioned, some of the bigger bands that have those full capacity, production crews and all this other stuff to do, how many have actually done it?
Right, yeah.
And that's the biggest problem. You know, this last year, the big bands, I mean, even some of the bands that I call my favorite of all time, you know, have sat at home making an album that they said they will release only when we can start touring again. Right. And, you know, and really have done nothing else. And that, you know, we feel, you know, I'm not sure how you feel about it, but especially when you have a band that you just connect to. Not just, oh, it's my favorite band. No, it's like a connection to that band, you know, and then just to see them abandon you this past year really fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's, I don't want to say completely like money driven. I mean, you see, bands that put their, money where their mouth is, in terms of like, I don't know, especially bands that have come out and said like, we're all about the fans, we want to do everything we wouldn't be here without you, that kind of stuff.
And putting out your albums all you can do right now.
Yeah.
Put out
At
art.
least a single.
Yeah. And then those bands being like, well, if there's not money in it for us, we're gonna hold off. But then you also have the aspect of exposure, being like, we want as many people to hear this as possible. I've heard that, when they tour with it, they feel like they're reaching new people. But then you have like, I don't know who else has done it to this level, but the Under Oath did a live stream and made, I think, 3 times as much in one night, I think, as they would have on an entire tour that they're gonna, like a international tour with Slipknot that they were supposed to do. So in one night they made like so much more than they would have for like 2.5 months or something on the road.
Oh wow.
And so it's
with no overhead essentially.
so yeah, even the money argument doesn't totally compute, because it's like, I mean, we can adapt, bands, especially the bands, like you said, that people have a connection to.
Yeah, I mean, there's only been a handful that I can think of. You mentioned Under Oath. I know Trivium did one at the end of the summer last year. Corey Taylor did the biggest one of them all, where he rented out the Forum and did a full stage show. But who else?
Foo Fighters did one.
Foo Fighters did one, yeah. And then they did the charity stream for Save Our Stages, which Miley Cyrus donated her time to, so hats off to her. But that's really all I can think of. I know there's been other bands that have done it, but not on a scale to where I can like say, oh, that was really cool. It was just, it was under the radar.
Yep. And the this might be getting a little inside baseball, but the rumors of the way that huge venues are gonna kind of start going under in the what like next 6, 7, 8 months, because it's been so long, and so these huge conglomerates, or the big businesses that own like multiple arenas and venues and stuff, will start just being like, okay, it's not worth it to keep this enormous venue.
Well, because the capacities are too big for them to be able to have those concerts there.
Yeah.
They can't get bands at an amphitheater right now because you can't have that many people.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why, in September of last year, even one of the biggest, money-making, oldest and most iconic, stages in the world in LA, the Whiskey A Go-Go, did that, thing with Miley Cyrus that I just mentioned. But they're the only ones that have actually come out and like done something like that. And I don't even know how much money they raised, during those streams that they did for Save Our Stages. But was it just for Whiskey, or was Whiskey like, let's go ahead and donate to a bunch of different places? Was it just in LA? Was it just in California? There's so many variables with that. So it's like, why aren't other stuffs doing that? I know late last year, one of the oldest and most iconic comedy clubs in Austin, Texas, closed down. Like it was the equivalent to Laugh Factory in LA, and that one closed down. I'm scared because like where I live at in Northern Virginia, this place is a mecca.
Hey.
What?
Oh, sorry. We're from Virginia Beach, Norfolk area.
Oh, so you're 3 hours away from me. Fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't realize you're that close. That's cool.
Yeah, we are. I'm up in Leesburg, so
Okay.
yeah. So, but where I live at, this place is a mecca.
Yeah.
We've got the Jiffy Lube Live, then we've got a bunch of different ones in Maryland. And then we've got Dave Grohl's, I can never remember the name of it, in DC. So we've got a bunch, and then there's so many different things up here. When they start booking stuff again, what's still going to be around? We're going to find out really, really, really fucking quick, and it scares me.
Yep. And that's like if these big venues end up shutting down, where the big band's going to tour, and if they've shown their hand this quick about being money driven. You know, they're not going to release albums so they can tour. Are they going to tour in a, you know, half quarter size capacity room when they're used to playing coliseums or stadiums or whatever? Like, you might see a shift on what mega bands even are willing to do tour wise. It's weird. It's a weird time.
It really is, and that's the part that scares me, because as somebody who, you know, used to be in the music business, you know, and then am just a gigantic fan of music and talking to, you know, underground bands and indie bands, and you know, this is my life. You know, music business is my life. It's on the outside of it, where you guys are on the inside of it, but this whole thing is my life. And to be able to go to shows is one of my favorite things. Even if I'm just going to a fucking local brewery, seeing an acoustic set by a single guy, it's one of my favorite things in the world to do. You know, in 2019, before the shutdown, I saw 10 different shows. I saw everybody from Falling in Reverse and Ice Nine Kills to Once of Mice and Men and Slipknot and Gojira. I mean, it was ridiculous amount of bands I've saw in 2019. And then 2020 comes, and I bought a set of tickets hoping that it would, you know, not cancel, and it canceled twice. And that was it. You know, so as a fan, knowing what it's like, you know, it kind of sucks on both fronts for me, because I know what it's like to be up on stage. I know that feeling of that adrenaline rush when you walk out and it just roars of people. You know, it doesn't matter if it's 50 or 5,000, that adrenaline rush is the same. And then the same thing goes in reverse for someone who's deeply passionate about the music business, to walk into that arena and be a part of that 50 or 5,000 people cheering on that band. And no matter what the size of the crowd is, they're still just as passionate as they were the night before. You know, that adrenaline rush is just as awesome. So it's like I'm missing double it, because I also know how happy you guys are to be up there. So I get to feel both of it, and it's really cool. But to not feel it at all, it sucks.
Yeah, that's the I think the biggest, you know, the one thing that I think will keep these live streams from becoming like the new norm is, as soon as you, I don't know, there's no substitute for the energy feedback loop
the
of a
shared
live
energy
show.
of like someone with a give and take.
Yep, it's watching it's cool. You might get camera angles, you know, on different members of the band that you wouldn't see live or whatever, but I don't know, man. There's a endless feedback loop of just adrenaline and energy that I don't think I'd ever want to smash a guitar on a live stream. I can't imagine getting to that point where I'm just like, oh, it's over. I'm jumping through the drums. This is it.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very plausible.
It would be more like we end it and be like, was that a good take? Did we get that good live? I don't think I've ever worried about hitting a wrong note live. Just, you got to be in it, you know. But in a live stream, it's like people are going to go back and scrub through this and find. I don't think you can play that and sing that at the same time. I think, you know. But yeah, it's a weird thing.
But you're right. I mean, watching it on a live stream or even, you know, pre-recorded that they release later is nothing like being at a show. If I'm going to listen to a live album, I'm going to listen to a live album, because I can at least close my eyes and suspend my belief. And, you know, if I've ever seen that band live, I can just go back to that point in time in my memory. So, but when you're watching it, you can't really do that, because you know there's something going on in front of you and YouTube's playing or whatever you have. And it's just like, oh yeah, there it is. It doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
There's just nothing there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difference. I mean, you can watch a YouTube video of a live show, and just the fact that makes you feel nothing, like a person in the crowd, you know, trying to capture the moment. You can't capture the moment.
Living it.
Yeah.
If anything, it makes you miss it more.
Yep.
Over the summer and even in December, I did a bunch of I hosted a bunch of live streams for indie and underground bands, just to kind of give them a national platform on my show, because, you know, I have a pretty good sized audience. So I was, you know, doing that, and it was win-win. I got more views and listens, and they got to be heard. So it worked out really well. But one of the things I did was I did a 7-hour charity stream, in December for Toys for Tots. And I had 12 different bands and 15 different comedians come on and just perform and do stuff all night long. And it was a 7-hour long, event. And every time I, hit that play button, because it was most of the bands were pre-recorded, it was like, it just made me hate it, hate this whole thing even more. So I literally had to take off my headphones. I couldn't even listen to it. I just played on my phone for the half hour that they were playing. It just, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. But the one thing that I do, treasure in this whole time is, yes, we cannot go to shows. But the bands that are out there still doing new music are bands that most of us have probably never even heard of before.
Yeah.
I would say half of the bands that I've had on my show that have come from, a certain PR agent that we both work with, I've known of beforehand. Only half. The other half has been like, I may have heard them, but I've probably never heard their songs.
Right.
So with that said, though, discovering new music this last year, because it's so awesome to be able to go onto Spotify or Apple Music or whatever and see indie bands in the top 10. And that's across the board. I mean, that's not just rock. That's, R&B and rap and everything else, too. It's like you're seeing a bunch of new indie guys come out because everyone else is just sitting at home collecting a paycheck of, residuals.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like that's going to happen with live music, too. We've talked about it, at length, but the going to see, maybe a married couple that has a kid goes to see maybe 2 or 3 concerts a year, like their favorite bands and their, whatever. But those bands aren't touring anymore. So it, pushes people to, branch out, maybe go to a smaller venue that they've never been to, see bands that they haven't heard before that are comparable to their favorite band. Our band has kind of found solace in this avenue of, there are going to be people jonesing for new music.
And just live music again.
Yeah,
People who used to go to maybe 1 or 2 shows a year are probably going to go all the time now as soon as it comes back.
Yeah, just they need to be out doing stuff.
Took it for granted for so long.
Yeah,
we did. Like I said before, 10 shows in 2019 and to not see anything really just made me reflect on, how life can be taken for granted. Not just music, but just life in general. It can be taken away in a flash just like that.
Yeah.
But no, the whole idea of discovering all these new bands, and some of them aren't even new. They've been around for 10 years, but they've stayed independent, and Sirius Octane, isn't even picking them up. So it's kind of hard to discover it, especially with the age of Spotify. Everything's just so, it's stuffed out there. I mean, there's so much crap out there, so to be able to filter through that is very, very difficult. But this year has opened the doors for a lot of indie bands, and I think that's really fucking awesome.
Yep. It's it's not, it's so far it's not easier, necessarily, but it is, I think, there's room for it, or there will be, I guess. It's shaping up to be a cool new kind of, what's a better word for renaissance? A new like time for younger bands to take off. Or not younger, even just lesser known bands,
like the Roaring 20s all over again.
Yeah.
I think renaissance is actually a good word. Because it really kind of is. I have enjoyed the stuff that I've listened to this last year. When I have listened to you guys before.
Oh, nice.
And then when I got the email the other day, I was like, oh shit, and then I watched the video and I listened to it. It's fucking badass. We'll get into that here in a moment. But, it's easier for me to discover it, obviously, because I get press releases constantly everywhere from every freaking, label out there. So it's easier. But at the same time, when I do open up my Spotify, I can see these people, oh, I did talk to them. They're pretty cool. That's fucking awesome. They're in the top 10. So seeing that is kind of cool. But at the same time, I'm hoping it's easier for other people to be able to discover it. But my hat's off to the indie industry this year. You guys have really pulled us through this last year, because without you, we would just be listening to stuff that was released 5 years ago. So to you, and I guess I've said this to every single band that I've had on the show, to you and everybody else that has said, fuck it, we're putting out new stuff in this pandemic. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
So,
yeah.
Speaking of which, well, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, that just means a lot. That's another thing that it's not a woe is us, thing, but with the volume of music, it's all oversaturated. The amount of feedback is also dampened a little bit.
I agree.
You get your this is my favorite thing comment next to like an Italian guy being like, you guys suck so bad. Or like in another language, you have to translate it, so you have to go further to be like, oh cool, what's this guy say? What's this guy say? Who, we've reached Italy? Oh, he called it some slur that we don't even get. All right, cool. But yeah, appreciate it.
Woo. But the hell, my Mountain Dew went down the wrong hole. But you're not wrong. And especially Europeans, man, they take their metal seriously. And if you just aren't exactly their cup of tea, they will let you know about it.
There's an honesty to it that's.
Yeah.
If you can detach yourself, take a step back and look at like, oh, they want us to know exactly how they feel. This is good, but it's not anywhere near as good as your last song, or what, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Okay, so what you're saying is you really like the last song. Got it. Thank you. The way you phrased it makes me want to quit forever. But yeah.
Yeah, no. So now you guys have just released a new single, Taos Hum, and it's off your forthcoming album that was completely crowdfunded.
So yeah, the Indiegogo. We had a pretty good response from that, and we were actually able to record in spurts throughout 2020. Spurts.
We're like 4 times?
Yeah, 4 or 5 visits to the studio. And it was cool. I recording a full-length album, I think before this past year, seemed like it was on its way out. I mean, the idea of an album is great. Like, it's a body of work, represents a time in your life or whatever, and writing wise, 10 to 12 tracks, cool. As you start paying attention to the state of the streaming industry or whatever,
people's attention spans are too short for full length now.
Yeah. And so we weren't sure if we would ever do a full length for a while. I mean, singles. There's a study that says that the endorphins or the serotonin or whatever.
Like the first 5 seconds.
Yeah. Like a band releases a, let's say, 15-song album. The response from the listener is, "Yay, new stuff from my favorite band," right? And then go about their day.
Yep.
The response for a single, a 2.5-3 minute single, is, "Yay, my favorite band released a new thing." It's like the exact same excitement, whether you spent a year writing and recording this album or one song that was like, "Hey, we got some studio time. You want to go crank out a song?"
Yeah.
So we weren't sure we were ever going to do an album. But 2020, you said it, was just like so much stuff happened, and the way that we recorded, our producer Will Beasley is super like, we're used to working with him at this point, and we can work pretty efficiently. So we would go in for what was it, usually
maybe
like
a week?
Yeah, 3 or 4
4 days.
days at a time, do 1 or 2 songs at a time, and luckily / terribly unluckily, every time we'd come home there would be a new thing going on in 2020 that would be just an enormous bummer to everybody. And so like our influence, and this is something that I don't know how often occurs, instead of writing a batch of songs, writing all the lyrics or writing all the music, getting all of that done, then going into pre-production, going into record, and then putting yourself back into where you were in mentally to record like vocals or get back in kind of the emotion that you're in, whether it's like an old breakup or a, you know, whatever you're writing about. We had the
serendipitous,
misfortune or whatever of
just new shit happening every day.
Something happening. The virus is announced and people's response to it. And it's like, what am I going to write about? Well, I mean, there's really not a question of what we're writing about at this point, because like it's happening to all of us. It is a shared experience that you can't really overlook. So went in, recorded that, you know, get out of the studio, and George Floyd stuff's going on. We just happen to already have studio time booked for like a month and a half after that. It's like, well, our inspiration's just like presenting itself to us. And then so on and so forth for the entire year, all kinds of stuff. So every time we'd go in the studio, it was rough mentally, I feel like, but it was also
it's a cathartic.
A very therapeutic way to be like, doesn't make anything better globally or even, you know, but
and we're all kind of like neurotic busybodies, like if we don't have something to do. So not being able to tour like we were planning on, and then just putting all that energy into every month or so going and recording a few new songs, working on the full length.
Yeah.
Let's keep it together.
We talked about a couple singles. We talked about an EP, and then by April, we're like, oh, this is going to be
let's do 3 more.
This is going to be a full album. So it came together pretty naturally, if you can call, you know, the events of this past year natural. But it was very cool. We had a lot of support. E-Rap Indiegogo,
we were blown away by that.
We are not a band that I don't know, it took internal convincing for us to make asks like that, but the response was insane, and it helped us a lot with the pressings that we're gonna do, and you know, PR, paying for getting us connected, you know, all that kind of stuff, making all the necessary moves to make it happen. So all in all, I'm super proud of it.
Well, the one song that you guys released, Taos Hum, is amazing. So I want to go ahead and ask you this, because I'm very curious, because after again, I've heard you guys before, and then I did a little re-review of your catalog, and then listened to, you know, Taos Hum again, and this is kind of a departure from your previous albums, a lot heavier. So how reflective of this song is this song of the album?
So the
album's kind of all over the place, not necessarily like in a bad way, but it's
hopefully
I mean, it's got a little bit of everything. It's definitely one of our slower, like sludgier songs, but we've still got some more like fast-paced, high energy, like rock and roll songs in there too.
And once again, it was kind of, so to kind of give you a background of where we were in the inspiration for it, it seemed appropriate to make it sludgier. There's some screaming in it, but it's sung, and most of it's sung and with real, you know, minor harmonies that are just making it as creepy as possible. Essentially, as it'll be the first track on the album. It's just like an introduction to the shit show, basically. Like that's kind of in in February, we released our EP, our last EP, Highways to Jeans, in January. Signed to a label that, you know, we were like, this is gonna be great. Like, we didn't sign to an enormous label that was gonna change our lives, but like we had some help. We had, you know, it was a cool, had some people backing us. We had some suits behind us being like, we believe in what you're doing, keep going. And hit the road, did a couple tours, did a little bit bigger tour. Like we were growing slowly but surely. And then our last show, which we've documented on our Instagram because it was just too fun not to, but it was in Queens, New York, February 24th, and we played a show. Our drummer was already sick at the time, and like he'd gotten sick earlier on that run of shows. And we went from the late January, early February being like, this is our year. We got this, you know, like this is going to be a cool stepping stone year for us. Steady growth. To February 24th, which is our last show to date. So we just passed the 1 year mark of not playing any shows. And get home and we find out that everything is kind of shut down. So, and then we probably all had COVID before it was like, I don't know, we're still debating, but 3 out of the 4 of us came home with what we thought was a flu, and it put us out for like a week or so.
Yeah.
Fast forward to March and we're like, oh, okay, we may have, I don't know, but
could have, yeah.
So the song, sorry, the long-winded explanation,
That's
but
fine.
The song is basically kind of an introduction to the album, and it lyrically kind of talking to us in February of 2020, introducing us as kind of being like, hey, watch how excited you get, because it can all go away immediately. And also, don't sweat the small stuff. There are lines in there about like, why are you freaking out now? You have no idea what's about to happen to you right now. So as an introduction to everything, it felt apt to give it that kind of gloomy, sludgy feel, as opposed to writing a rock song that, an upbeat, you know, pit song or whatever. This was more like I don't know, just with a looming destruction that will be kind of manifest in the rest of the album. There are some rock songs on it. There are some fun ones to come, but yeah, that as an introduction, I think that was it needed to be a departure, because we're not the same people we were, you know, musically, personally, I think, like anything, as this time last year. So yeah, it is different, but
so
one of my favorites.
So would you say that your tastes have gotten, like, you know, to that heavier side, and you kind of want to express that because of the shit that we've gone through, or what exactly?
I mean, you said it, the influences are across the board,
Correct.
like, or, you know, across the spectrum. So anything that we do is kind of an amalgamation of that, like things that we're influenced by. I don't think, unless we went like full electronic, like dance music, I don't know. I can't think of anything that like any of us would present to the band that everybody would be like, you gotta be kidding me. Like where are we going with this?
Yeah, our influences are kind of all over the place collectively. So
yeah. So it's yeah, there is a little more of this to come on the album. And I mean, yeah, I think this time last year, influences wise, I was listening to like a lot more upbeat stuff. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Don Broco, but they're like a British pop rock band.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
you can't
insane.
put them in a box, but they're just fun as shit.
They're so fun. It's 1975. Tears for Fears.
Oh wow. Okay.
But then he screams sometimes.
And yeah, there's breakdowns, like the heavy guitar, like it's all over the place.
Cowbells will show up eventually, or throughout the album. But
Right.
anyway, they're super fun. And then I realized I'm not in the mood for that. Like like halfway through the year, I'm listening to Phoebe Bridgers and Julian Baker, and
and crying in traffic listening to Julian Baker.
Just, like really fitting the mood. So yeah,
I think the overall tone of it's aggressive, but
oh yeah,
no matter what the song structure is. But.
Yeah, I was not expecting that answer. As far as stuff that you were listening to at the time, I was expecting more like I was expecting the expected, which was like it's such a sad time, so I'm listening to early 2000s emo. I was just feeling pretty emo that day.
Yeah, that's where are my throwback emo albums? I'm a Glassjaw fan for life, so that band will peek into my influences and playlists.
Thrice is like that for probably listen.
Yeah, and we have a couple. Yeah, I mean, those influences. We hope going in that we've made them our own.
Yeah.
But I feel like our influences kind of peek in throughout our stuff.
And that's awesome that it was that it's that eclectic. To find somebody like that has that broad of a range of influences. Even collectively as a band, is more rare. Just one person by themselves is extremely rare. But that's really cool that you guys were influenced by that kind of stuff, at that time to really put out the best record that you could.
Yeah, and even more than, I said this already, but even more than influenced by bands. I don't do a whole lot of listening to music while writing, just because I'll end up just writing what I'm listening to. But I don't want to say it was easy, because this year was not easy, but the creation of things was just kind of came out. And that's so corny. But
you're not wrong. Because it was easy. Because and let's be real. As a creator, regardless if it's music or comedy, or if you're, a TV writer, let's call a spade a spade. It really was. We don't want to say it that it was, because it's kind of, stabbing in the back a little bit more, twisting it. But it was easy to be a creator this past year because there was so much shit going on in front of us. Every day I could write a new goddamn Donald Trump, joke, but those got bored really quick.
Yeah.
But, it's like, yeah, of course. It was 100% easy. So, yeah, don't be ashamed in saying that. It's true. It sucks that it's true.
Yeah.
But it's true,
As opposed to, I think, maybe mining for comedy, as controversial, I guess, as he's become. Somebody like Louis C.K. talking about digging deeper every time he needs to write a new special. He's got to go deeper into the recesses of his, fucked up psyche or whatever it is, to find new jokes. That's like hard in, easy out. He's very good writing.
I wouldn't put that phrase "hard in, easy out" with Louis C.K.
You're gonna love the next one.
Go ahead.
Well, no, if it's you're right. Screw it. If before 2020 it was hard in, easy out, and I'm doing this too. I don't know why I'm doing that. But if it was hard in, easy out, this year has the other way around. Easy
hard
in,
out, easy in.
Fine, yeah. Whatever. I lost the analogy.
The hard way. I don't know what that means. My cousin used to say it all the time.
Anyway,
the hard way is another bad phrase.
The things that we're experiencing were difficult. Mining for content, very easy.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I gotta find new stuff, and it's hard to find new stuff. And then when you find the stuff, ooh, the jokes write themselves, the songs write themselves. This was experiencing this is absolute hell on earth.
Yeah.
But I mean, all the content's there, and I called it before, and we'll see what happens. But this it's not a concept album, but the fact that the inspiration from the year is what has come out of the whole album process.
I mean, kudos to anybody who had something else to write about.
Right, exactly. I think every band, not every band, artists in general, if the art that comes out in 2021 through 2022 is not the best thing that person has ever worked on because they had a year to work on it. This isn't like you got a month to write this movie script and then we're shooting. They had so much time. I hope there are passion projects in music, comedy, art,
Everything.
movies.
Yeah.
But also, how many albums are going to be titled like 2020 Vision? Spotify's going to, Spotify's going to implode with all these bands being like, oh, dude, 2020 Vision. It's brilliant. Every album's going to be written about the same stuff that our album's written about, but trying to put a twist on it, trying to make it balance the personal with the global.
Yeah. It's a personal thing. So you can listen to a bunch of different bands that are telling the same story, but from their point of view. So it's absolutely, it's going to happen. It was inevitable. But it's cool to, understand a different side of you guys as a band because of the personal experiences that you guys had, because everyone's experience is different, throughout this past year. But I do want to go back to something you had said earlier and then combine it with what you just said. So you were talking about, not understanding whether or not you guys wanted to make a full-length album or just an EP or a bunch of singles. And then you had mentioned the concept record just a few minutes ago. So I want to kind of touch on that for a second here, because this is something I've talked at length with other bands, and I kind of want to get your perspective on it again, because you did talk about it, but at the same time, I want to look at it a different way. So Ronnie Radke of Falling in Reverse came out sometime last year and pretty much said the exact same thing. Falling in Reverse is never going to put out another full-length album. They're just going to do singles. And maybe an EP here and there, but it's all going to be singles. And I agree with that, just like you guys would do as well. But the concept record thing is kind of where I want to go with this. I feel like when you do a concept album, and even though you say it's not a concept album, it still kind of has that aura around it. But that's the only way you can do a concept album is by doing a full-length album. Whether it's, September Morning, who's a comic-driven metal band that does, concept albums, or Coheed and Cambria, or however you want to look at it. I feel that piece of the puzzle still has, a place in society. Now, if you want to make it episodic, release a single here on a Friday, wait 7 days, and then do it 7 days later, and then turn it into a concept album, that's cool too. But I think the concept album still has a huge place in this society. It's one of my favorite things to do because it gives me a reason to listen to the whole album. I can't go back and listen to, 2018's Unheavenly Creatures by Coheed and Cambria and just listen to just one song. No, I got to listen to the whole damn album. Yeah. It takes me 5 hours, but damn it, I'm going to do it. But so I think that aspect of things is okay. If you want to call it a concept album, call it one. If you don't, we don't. But at the same time, I think that gives the people a reason to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason I wouldn't call it one is just because, like I said, so many things did happen this year that there's not one theme that goes throughout it, except for the fact that it all happened in one span of time.
It was all
and then yeah. and the sequencing doesn't make sense as a narrative or whatever. I do love that idea though, and I agree 100% that if you're telling one story, are you familiar with the Boys Night Out, the band Boys Night Out at all?
Yes.
So they released a concept album called Trainwreck, and it's very literal. The albums or the songs are all titled like, the whole story is like a guy mentally ill, kills his wife. His grief pattern, and then it's bookended by a doctor's voice tape recording, like medical notes or whatever. It's very literal. My favorite thing. Like the same as you. I'll listen to that all the way through every single time. And that's always been the bar. Like if I'm gonna write a concept album without a comic book companion piece or graphic novel companion piece or whatever, I want it to be like a narrative creatively, but like I don't know if I would want to do like the Easter egg thing. Childish Gambino also did that because the internet has a very kind of abstract storyline, but he was able, because he's Childish Gambino, to put like Easter eggs on the internet and like
just everywhere.
Yeah, create all this like, and for a smaller band without that, the capability of
resources and connections like that.
Yeah, renting out a coffee shop and making it your bedroom, so it's like a art installation. He did all kinds of stuff, but without the capability of doing that, making a very easy to understand narrative would be kind of the avenue I would want to go.
Yeah.
Which I agree completely. I think that that's absolutely how you would do something like that. And yeah, you could do it with singles. I mean, there technically are no rules, I guess, but
especially now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be kind of cool to, like, for example, Coheed, hypothetically speaking, and that's why I mentioned it, because I thought it was just a cool idea, that if they put together, they released, the next, Amory Wars, comic book as like a movie type situation with the songs embedded in it, and make it an episodic 12-week series, that would be cool as shit. And then you get to watch it, the whole thing as a whole at the end. That would be really, and then nobody's ever done that, but I think that would be cool as shit. And that's why I mentioned it. But
I was looking forward
to. But Shinedown did that too.
Oh, really?
In 2018, I think it's called not some kind of monster. That's Metallica's thing. It's something to do with their last album was a concept record, basically what you were just describing, that it told a story of a gentleman who had mental illness, coincidentally enough, of his basically his day in the world. He wakes up in the morning and then he just the different demons he has to overcome and so on and so forth, and it's just a progression of songs. It's really awesome. So yeah, I mean I like that idea too, absolutely. But yeah, unless you're gonna do a comic book like September Morning or Coheed, it's going over the top like that is a little excessive, but being able to tell an intricate story between 12 songs is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. You convinced me. I'm doing it.
Let's do it. I mean, it's so cool. I mean, especially with your guys' way of doing things as far as musically goes, I think it would be, especially, I mean, just throwing it out there, it would be really badass, because you guys would, being that you guys have such a huge wide variety of sounds and songs, you guys can make that story fit with a really interesting stuff. I mean, Coheed does that a lot too, where each song really changes and it's not always prog rock like they're known for, but at the same time, it still sounds like Coheed. You guys have such a wide variety of things that you guys could throw in a bunch of stuff and be like, oh, I know this is dead, but it doesn't sound anything like them, because they just come to expect that of you guys. So I think that would be really cool for you guys to do.
Okay. Let's do it. We got work to do, so.
Influenced by Derek of Suck It Podcast.
Absolutely.
I want credit, damn it.
You got it. We'll be, we're also going to hit up Netflix. Well, I mean, they'll green light something, right?
Yeah, anything now.
It could. But no, I mean, who knows?
I love it, though. That we talked about doing that, making this album more literal. But like I said, as the year progressed, it was like, how do we make that into somebody will do it. Somebody will have done it. By the time this comes out, an album will have dropped and somebody, walked the listener through the year. But yeah.
But again, it's not going to be, everyone's story is going to be different. So I think that's kind of cool. I do like
Absolutely.
that idea.
Yeah.
So, bands, everyone's doing it. So, jump on board, jump on the hype train. But, again, you guys are badass. And the new song is amazing. When does the new album drop? Because in my press release, I did not get that date.
No problem.
So
you want to explain waterfall?
We're waterfalling this.
Okay.
So it's kind of a way to do singles and a full length. So we released the first song, and then a month later we'll release the second single. And then about a month or so after that, we'll release a grouping of like 2 or 3 songs. So the full album should be out by August.
Gotcha. Very, very good. I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, especially if you can't tour, sprinkle it, get fans hyped up, and then boom, here you go. Here's the whole thing. Absolutely. I firmly agree with that. A lot of bands have, gone against that in recent years. Especially my favorite band of all time, even though they're completely pissed me off right now because of the money thing that we talked about earlier. Avenged Sevenfold with, The Stage. They were like, here's one song, and then we're going to go ahead and give you a little virtual concert on the top of Capitol Records. Oh, and by the way, the album's out now. You guys gave us 2 weeks notice. Thanks for that great build-up, and it was the worst selling album they've ever done. Unfortunately, it was a pretty damn good album, but they didn't have any. They made a huge mistake with that. But I'm glad to see another band doing what's supposed to be done. Tease us all year long, and then just punch us right in the face at the end of the year with a great fucking album. So I agree with that 100%.
It's like what he was saying. People are just as excited about a single as they are a full length, and that by the time that goes away, they'll get another single instead of nothing.
Yeah. And that's the greatest thing about the music world today is everyone pays for their $15 or their $10 or $5, whatever, for their music subscription service, so they don't have to wait in line and go to Best Buy or Sam Goody or whatever the hell else we used to go to as kids. And now we can just, as soon as it pops up online at midnight that night, we can listen to it over and over and over and over again. It's that immediate satisfaction which people these days crave.
Yeah.
They want that payoff.
Yep. So, and videos are another big thing for us. I love doing music videos.
Yeah.
It's another kind of thing to get excited about or enjoy.
Another way to perform.
Yeah. We just shot one. Everyone left sore because we haven't played. Haven't done anything. Yeah, haven't played in a year. So we actually wrapped on shooting the newest music video. It'll be out in late March. On our 1 year anniversary of playing a show. So it was like it feels good to be sore from playing the same song, 50 times in a row to get all the shots and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another aspect of keeping people's attention, I guess, or and also giving that to the fans.
Making more art out of your art.
Yeah. Doubling down on the art, making the art.
Art, dude. People love art, dude.
And that's another thing I want to go ahead and compliment you guys on and give people a reason to click the link in the bio to go watch this video. Is that it's an actual music video. One of the things I think, again, is another lost art, is the art of the music video. Nowadays, bands are just renting out, their local warehouse, getting a 360 camera on a track, playing a song right in the middle of this track, and it just goes around them and over, and then they're done. Dub over it, we're done. But you guys put time into the visuals, and it's, it's really cool to freaking watch, and I appreciate that, because, again, it gives you a reason. Because if I'm going to watch just a standard video with them, like I said, just one camera, just constantly, doing the same shot, that's not a music video to me. I can listen to the single and get the same satisfaction. But when you do it the way you guys did it, it adds a whole other level to it. I think that was really cool.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, a lot of that was Will and Shauna Clark. We did the Taos Hum video with them and this new one with them. Just kind of understanding what we were going for. Like, we sat down and had a conversation with them, and anything that reference material, all that kind of stuff. The video that's at the Taos Hum video, to kind of go back to the song, the mood of the song and everything. I sat down with Will and Shauna and was like, this is track 1 from the album. Can we do like a Bond intro thing? Like, you know, like I said, the song is like an introduction to the insanity or whatever, but
yeah,
can we double down on that and do, you know, silhouettes and all the kind of weird stuff that goes on in a Bond intro?
Like a Bond intro meets the tunnel boat scene in Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
That's exactly how, yeah, I got that.
We're all like big kind of cinema nerds, so that also influences a lot of what we do. We try to make everything kind of cinematic.
Yep. And he sent me, Will was editing that video and sent me some test footage and said he had I think it was like 3 screens, raw footage, the edit, and then on this TV he just had the movie Mandy playing. And so that was like his reference for like the color palette and stuff like that. Was the Nicolas Cage movie Mandy, that is just mayhem, color wise, and it's, if you haven't seen Mandy, absolutely check that out, because
I have not seen that. I'll have to look it up.
It's wild.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But that video definitely has that Willy Wonka vibe. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's pretty awesome. But no, the sound is awesome. You guys are awesome. I mean, there's, you know, for anyone that's never heard you guys before, guys, there's plenty of stuff out there. Their past albums, a wide variety of stuff. All the links for their stuff is down below, whether it's Amazon, Spotify, whatever you guys like to do. Click it, stream it, listen to it. It's awesome. And then the video for the new song Taos Hum is in the description below. But you guys, again, I can't say it enough. Thanks for making new music for us to fucking listen to. You know, I'm like, aside from, you know, just being a fan, you know, music is a huge crutch for me as somebody with bipolar disorder. You know, sitting back and, you know, being able to get out of my own head and just enjoy music for what it is. And it's a universal language of healing, in my opinion. Because it doesn't matter what kind of day you're having, turn on a song, you know, and it's going to make you that much happier, or it's going to let you feel your feelings, or however it is, but it's a universal thing of healing. And I use it a lot. And when I can't find new music that I enjoy, it makes my, you know, my depressive days worse. But being able to find so much good new music this year from bands like yourselves has made this year, especially for people like me, a lot better. So thank you.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, making it is therapeutic and helps us as well. So to hear that on the reciprocating end, that means a lot. Appreciate that.
Hey, it's my pleasure. You know, this is one of the things I loved about my job, is the fact that I get to talk to really cool bands that are out there just for the, you know, that are making music for the right reasons, and giving them a spotlight to really show off their talents and who they are. And hopefully you guys get a bunch of new listeners out of it, because that's what I love to see. I love to see that. Love it. It's absolutely fantastic. No problem, guys.
We've become fans of yours as well. From I embarrassingly wasn't familiar before
that's
our
fine.
PR person connected us, but we decided to do some research, and yeah, and what you're doing is fantastic, and it's awesome. I dug way deep into the Flat Earth episode. I know I know that probably comes up on every episode now, but dude, I purposely followed the track from the initial interview to your response to the YouTube comments to, you know, like, I don't want to like kick a dead horse, because I'm sure you talk about it all the time, but
it's
like,
so much fun though.
Dude, I personally love like being wrong about things and learning that, like, you know, learning new things through being like, actually the way that it's the same with like any kind of issue, that a lot of the issues that we were dealing with this last year, systemic racism, you know, toxic masculinity, all kinds of things that are being brought to the forefront. I hope, and I try to kind of lean into that and be like, what can I do better mentally, you know, mental health wise? What can I do better?
Yeah.
So being wrong, in my mind, I'm like, cool, what can I do next? So listening to that episode, I was like, wow, this guy, like, this guy has some decent points. You know, like going into that interview or debate, which it ended up being completely, regardless of how you.
I did that on purpose.
I don't. I also don't want this video to end up, you know, spurring on more negative comments. But the I don't know. It was very cool, and then yeah, just following that path. It did in the comments and stuff take an unfortunate turn, but.
Well, the thing about it is with the comments, I mean, I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. I mean, I've seen, you know, other people go against him before. So you know, and I have no problem talking about it real quick with you guys because this is nothing I haven't said before. But, because my plan's been out there for a while. But the hate was just ridiculous. But I had seen it from other people that he's gone against. And I just went into it wanting to have a conversation with the guy. But then he kept cutting me off. And no matter what I said, he completely disregarded it. Yeah, I misquoted a calculation in there. Okay. But, you know, other than that, at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be a sarcastic asshole to this guy and just make him pissed off. And it just kept working because I could see him and, you know, he was just trying and trying and trying. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no. I just kept saying no and pissing him off. And then once I found out a little bit more about him, I added that intro about him, about him not believing in North Korea, 9/11 was staged, and, you know, no mass shooting is real, and all this other stuff. And I was like, this guy is nuts. So I had to make sure I added that, and I knew that was going to piss off more people. And the whole idea was this. I needed to find a door to open to make my YouTube content as big as my podcast content.
Yeah. You found it.
I am like 45 or 50,000 downloads per episode. Podcast side.
Right, yeah.
I am at maybe 100 views on average per episode on YouTube. They just don't equate. So that's fine. And that goes back to what I was saying before. I mean, you know, with that whole band just having one camera, you know, I offer nothing visually on my YouTube channel with the podcasts, you know, that I do, other than the, you know, podcast. So it's the same thing. So I wanted to find something to, you know, troll, and I was successful. And I keep trolling them, and they keep coming back for more, trying to insult me when all their two common ones are, I am stuck in cognitive dissonance and just basically stupid and refuse to accept reality, and then I'm fat. That's what they keep telling me. You're fat. Okay, cool. I'm not fat, but thanks anyway. Thanks for checking me out. I appreciate it. But it's like they think that they're getting to me, and I'm like, no, I'm getting to you guys because you guys keep coming back for more. I've done 4 episodes on these guys, and I'm not even done yet, and it's fantastic. So yes, I have my mental health stuff right now, and I'm very focused on that. But it's so much fun to fuck with the flat earthers.
That believing in something. I'll keep this brief. Keep this brief. Believing in something is one thing, and then, just
bullying people to believe what you believe is another thing. Yeah,
it happens a lot
with most beliefs.
Yeah, with almost all beliefs now, because there's no Instagram post that's like, hey, DM me and let's talk about my religious denomination, or hey, I want to have a conversation with you about abortion, or whatever the issue is. It's like a snarky meme that's close-ended, no conversation. If you believe this, you must be an idiot, or in that guy's words, foolishness. This is all foolishness.
Well, nobody wants to have a discussion. They want to either hear that you agree with them, or that you've changed their mind and now you agree with them.
Yeah. And I wasn't going to do that. It was again, just too much fun at this point.
Yeah.
The comedy side of me is coming out.
Oh, of course. He said something very interesting about him not believing in flat Earth until somebody that he respected showed him the truth in his words, or in his opinion. And that's huge.
Did that mean he gained more respect for that?
I don't know. But somebody that believed in flat Earth came to him. It was a mentor of his, or like a scientist or someone that he respected.
Something like that, yeah.
Scientist.
Not a scientist. Not a scientist. They don't believe in science. They don't. Astrophysics, cosmology, astrology, all that stuff is all fake.
Cosmology?
No, cosmology. Yeah, they're all fake. They're all pseudosciences that aren't real. Yeah.
That's a huge deal, though, as somebody that you respect, that you look up to, teaching you something. That's how like people are brainwashed.
It's brainwashing.
Brainwashed at a young age into believing whatever they're taught by their parents. Like, this person, I trust this person has the best interest, my best interest in heart, and so I'm just going to believe them blindly until I, in his case, he had a lot of cool visuals, but
I mean, anybody can get a platform nowadays and just convince enough people of anything.
Well, he is straight up a con man, in my opinion. I mean, the whole idea is every time he goes onto a podcast is he pushes his app, and his app costs money.
Oh, it all makes sense.
Yep. Because he gives you okay videos and says, well, if you want more videos, go to the app.
Mm-hmm.
If you want more videos, if you want more proof, go to the app. He gives you the bare minimum in order for you to go pay your $3 to get his app.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that app has a ridiculous tens of thousands of downloads on top of merch that he sells, on top of everything else. So no matter what happens in the next 10 years, this guy will never, ever, admit that he is wrong because his nut is too big inside of this whole thing.
Yep.
Has to be some court case.
Yep.
That makes complete sense. That makes everything that he's doing worth it on his end.
Correct.
Going on and debating people. Yeah, if you know that it's a means to an end, who cares if it's true or not?
Yeah. And I even challenged him the other day to come back on the show with a very, very high profile. I'm not going to say the name of the person because it's, but a very high profile astrophysicist and cosmologist to come on the show and have this conversation with him on my show. He's completely dodged the question. Oh, no, he didn't completely dodge the question. He used misogynistic terms thrown at me and then backed out and said he wasn't going to deal with me.
Whoa.
He said, I would do this and complain, or excuse me, because he stole one of my videos and put it on his page and didn't even credit me at all. So I copyright striked him just because he was doing it in a malicious manner. Otherwise, I wouldn't have really cared because I'm like, okay, maybe they'll find me another way. But no, he took away my graphics and he, did his own graphics on top of mine and then didn't even credit me and just used it in a very malicious way. So I copyright striked him. And he came back at me and says, I don't deal with pussies who issue copyright strikes on videos because they think they were stolen. But what else? And how did he put this? He goes, I have things I can complain about you to YouTube about, but I don't have a vagina. Wow. That's really professional, misogynistic, sexist, everything that you could possibly think of all wrapped into one. So good job on you. And thank you for proving my point. So he didn't, he doesn't want to deal with it at all.
Like, fight him? Is that what?
I guess. I mean, I'll beat a 55-year-old man's ass. I'll drive to Connecticut for that. No, I won't. I'm just kidding. Don't, people. That is not a threat. I don't want the FBI at my door. It was a joke. God.
He's a comedian.
I'm a comedian. Please. Fuck, I hate. I'm gonna edit that out. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's in seriousness. It's just a means to grow the channel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, possibly call out a bullshitter and, have a little bit of fun with it. But aside from all that, and I've said this too, we do have, a cult mentality right now in this country. And it's people preying on mental illness. So the quicker we can realize that, the better off we're all going to be. I mean, I did a cult episode last week. And, it's amazing. Again, the cult mentality that we have today, whether it's QAnon, Antifa, you know, the flat earth stuff, the Trump stuff, you know, all this stuff, you know, and even with people with like not the organizers, but the actual people that joined Black Lives Matter had that cult like mentality. Oh, this guy's doing it. Let me go ahead and join in. It's the right thing to do. Now, again, I'm not saying that the people that started it, no, but the people that joined in had that mentality because everyone else was doing it. And it's just it's a shitty situation to be in, that we're in this cult like mentality of, again, people preying on mental illness. And that's another reason why I'm doing it, is to call this kind of crap out, you know. And I'm having a good time with it, because I'm also seeing other people come out and defend the actions. I'm seeing more people attack this guy and call him out on his bullshit. So I'm seeing more of that in the last few weeks, and it's making me think that, you know, at least my message is being heard.
Yeah. And knowing that he's become more malicious, that, once again, the belief is not the issue, in my opinion. Like,
no, it's not.
I think I've heard you say it too. Believe what you want to believe. That's fine.
I'll defend it too.
Yeah. But like, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Disagreeing with somebody, especially on the shape of the earth, doesn't give you the right to call him a pussy. I don't know. It's just,
and besides, pussies are the strongest thing on the face of the damn planet. Those things can take a beating and keep on ticking, man. To me, it's a compliment.
Quote, but yeah.
It's a compliment to me. It takes a beating and keeps on ticking. That's how I, you know. Hey, call me a pussy. I'll be proud of. And they smell.
People should call people balls more often.
Yeah, exactly.
That should be derogatory.
Yeah, they can't even handle if it's a little cold outside.
Nope. They run and hide if it gets uncomfortable.
One swift with a pillow. One swift breeze of wind and your left nut hurts for an hour.
Yep. Always the left.
Yeah, it is always the left. What the fuck? But yeah, I think calling somebody a scrotum sack, or, you know, you fucking gonad, you know, that is more of an insult than calling somebody a pussy or a vagina. Yeah. Just saying. So this conversation took a weird turn toward the end there.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. But no, in all seriousness, again, thanks guys, and I enjoyed that last part of the conversation. That was fantastic. But you guys are, again, fantastic, and I cannot wait to hear more of the album when you drop the new single next month. Because if it's any reflection of how good the rest of this album is going to be, this album's going to be great just because of Taos Hum alone by itself. So
thanks, man.
Kudos to you guys. I hope everything works out for you guys. I hope this album really kind of kicks off and, you know, does something, you know, and helps you guys grow, you know, bigger than you guys ever imagined, because you guys deserve it. So thanks again.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much.
No problem. All right. And that was my conversation with the band Dead Friends. What a great band. Taos Hum is out now. Click the link in the bio to listen. It is an amazing song by an amazing group of guys. You know, their EP is coming out shortly, and it's gonna smash your brains in because it's just that damn good. Do not miss it. Check out again Taos Hum down below. And until then, you know, guys, thank you so much for another wonderful week of shows. I cannot wait to get to it again next week. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and always stay fucking heavy. We'll see you guys later. Peace.